have the Jeep Compass in a limited model. It's the second from the top of the range in a petrol version. And when you're stacking this car up against competitors like the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross and the Nissan Qashqai, their selling point is that you can take the Compass Limited off-road. But how much capability does it have really? And how much does it matter when you're driving it around suburbia? The Jeep Compass looks good. It's certainly one of the better looking cars in its class. The exterior just has a cool factor that other cars are missing, and I think it's this front grille here. They've nailed it. Inside is good, but it's not super luxurious. I found the seats a little bit uncomfortable, especially the passenger seat. It's flat and it's hard and it tilts your head forward too much. But the seats are leather, the steering wheel is leather, it feels great under the hands, and the center console and dash area is really well designed, clearly set out. A little few too many buttons, but the only thing I struggled with was finding the volume, which ended up being behind the steering wheel, and actually easy to use once I found it. In this limited model, almost everything is automated, including putting your driver's seat into position and the electronic park brake, which I find super useful because sometimes I can't tell if I've put it off or on. There are 2 cup holders in the front, 2 in the back, and a bottle holder in each door, plus a good sized center storage bin. Driving is pretty cruisy in the Compass. It handles really nicely, the steering isn't stiff at all. It's not particularly quiet, especially getting up hills. I found it pretty loud actually. It got up really quickly, but it did sound like a fair bit of effort for the 2.4 litre engine. And it's bigger than a small SUV, but smaller than a mid-size. So I actually found it pretty good to park this week. Could fit relatively easy into parking spaces. It's got a good reverse parking camera, and if you don't want to do any of that, the car will park itself. The turning circle is a good size, which made things easier for me while doing the school run. And as suspected, I did not need to use the off-road capabilities this week. The great thing about a Jeep Compass is that even though it's not a huge SUV, it still has enough space inside. There was plenty of space in the front for both me and my 185 centimetre husband, lots of leg and headroom. In the back, my 2 girls aged 4 and 6 just had so much room to play around with. It really was noticeable. The back also has air vents, which no other car in its class in this price range has managed to do yet. And my car was also optioned up to get this beautiful big sunroof, which lets in lots of lovely natural light. And the boot is a good size. At 438 litres, it's one of the biggest in its class, and I could fit the kids' bikes in there or a full load of groceries. Plus, it's got that excellent feature that parents just love, the automatically opening closing boot. Safety is good. The Jeep Compass has 7 airbags, including side airbags for the back row, 2 ISOFIX points and 3 top tethers for children's car seats. But you will have to option in more advanced safety features if you want them. Things like auto emergency braking and lane departure warnings don't come standard and will cost you an extra $2,450. This model comes with an 8.4-inch multimedia touchscreen, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, which is great because it just means you plug in your phone and you're instantly connected to apps like Spotify and Maps, and if you're constantly swapping drivers, it's particularly handy. Fuel consumption is higher than the Eclipse Cross with a claimed 9.7 litres per 100 Ks. The Jeep Compass is a great size for small families. It drives well, has enough boot space, and it looks super cool, so you feel good driving it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, taking points off for the lack of advanced safety features as standard. My children gave it a 7.5 too, but I think that was mostly for the colour. Blue is their favourite.